everybody. Welcome to Tale of Four Gamers. That's all of us. We are the Four Gamers, and this is our tale. It's been a few weeks. It's been about 5 weeks since we last tailed our Four Gamers, possibly 6, because everyone was away. Yeah, I think that's right, isn't it? It's been a few weeks, but yeah, we're done now, and we are back. We have some community updates. We have some updates on what we've been doing, and we've got some plans. We've done quite a lot in the last 6 weeks, haven't we?
Yeah, more than the weeks before it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, and now we have like an actual objective. So we've all suddenly started making an awful lot of progress. Suddenly, yeah. So welcome. If you've never been to Tale of Four Gamers before, we do this sort of once a month. We usually pick a game and then we build it over a period of time. The Christmas and the sort of delayed release of Epic sort of screwed us up a bit, so we're midway through a sort of vague, we're doing Old World, but we're also doing Epic Tale of Four Gamers, and we've given ourselves some deadlines now, so at least we know what we're doing. You can get involved if you like. At the end of each of these episodes, we do some updates. The community build along with us on our Discord, and then we do some updates at the end of the episode. So if you want some hobby motivation, then you can always join in over on the Patreon, and the Patreon gets Discord access, blah, 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 blah. There's all different levels. And if not, just watch along and you'll see what everyone else has done. Quite fun. It's Tale of Four Gamers, and I'm going to do the first announcement. We've got a few things that we've been doing this last month because we went to a few events. But I'm going to start with the important one, which is next month we finish our Legiones Imperialis armies. I've decided to do an event. We're all going to go. Bobbie's coming down on the 11th. Well, even Russ is getting there. Everyone started painting. I've seen all your updates. We're going to do an event. It's going to be called the Siege, the Burning of Quadrania Minimus. It's going to be at the 11th of May at Bad Moon Cafe. Opened. I've got a few tickets left. I'll put them up on the Patreon in case anyone wants to come. I've just booked a few tables. It's nothing big. Booked a few tables for a day of open gaming. So basically we can just get our head around the missions. I might put something together that's a bit more formal and structured, but mostly it's a load of people getting together to try and actually learn how to play this game and finally give themselves a deadline for Epic. It's about 3.5 weeks from when we're recording now, I think. 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that. 3 weeks. It's 3 weeks from when we're recording now, which is loads of time, right?
Loads of time.
Well, they're tiny armies, right?
Yeah, I mean, you both painted like half the army in a day, didn't you?
Well, I painted about 125 points in a day.
Oh yeah, fair point. But most of it is made up from like
infantry, so
big stuff.
I'm hoping that the dreadnoughts and tanks go quicker.
Yeah, we're only going to start with 1,000 points. So yeah, that's the first event. But otherwise, it's been pretty fun, hasn't it? What have we been up to? There's like 3 big events to talk about, right? Two heresy things, and then you all going and spending all your hard-earned cash on models at Salute while I was riding the waves. So what did we go to? What was the first one? Me, you, Russ, Gary, and Nathan. What was can anyone remember what the event was called that we went to a month ago?
The taking of Serranos.
The taking of this was Heresy Hammer's thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, Heresy Hammer. Yeah,
Heresy Hammer.
Yeah. And that was out in near Guildford.
Near Guildford.
Yeah, so we went to that and we played some games. I actually got ill on the first day and went home after the first day. But we all played some games at least.
Secretly, and you were just disgusted by the fact you were being absolutely trounced with your tanks.
Yeah. So I was aware what I was doing. So we went to the Heresy event. It was really fun. It was run by the Heresy Hammer guys. I think we all came out of it wondering if maybe next time we play Heresy, we should maybe a little bit plan to bring some good armies. Because everyone else fucking did.
I actually did really well on the first day, but then on the second day, yeah, I swapped out my Thalax for Castellax, and that's definitely a mistake.
Oh no! Oh dear! Yeah. I brought. Yeah, Gary.
The thing with those games were they were very narrative. That there was one side was meant to win, but it was kind of by what margin.
Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah.
Even if you brought a bad army, you're probably still going to win, but just not score your side as many points as maybe you could have.
You say that, but I bought a really bad army. I bought so I just painted up some. I think in the last update I said that I just painted up for the release day the Solar Auxilia Battle Force, and I thought, great, I'm now going to combine these few models I have with some tanks I already had, and brought a Solar Auxilia Armored Company, which was like abjectly awful, but I thought it would be fun given that no one would have ever played that before, because I think the models were only up for pre-release the day we actually played the event. Like the event was the pre-release day, so it was the first day I was allowed to show them. And all I had was 20 Solar Auxilia, so the rest of it was tanks, and the Solar Auxilia tanks aren't that brilliant. So I think I had like a Malkador, 2 Dracosan, and like 6 or 7 Liman Russ, and then 20 blokes. And yeah, and I thought that'd be a fun thing to bring, because like no one would have played it before. And it's a very silly army. And mostly when you see people bring armored companies in Heresy, they're marine ones, and they're a bit oppressively good. So it's a bit like Fury of the Ancients. People are like, that's a bit of a dick move. But thankfully, the Solar Auxilia Armored Company is bad. So
that was all also despite the fact you had an extra 350 points.
Yeah, just for playing Solar Auxilia, you get an extra 350 points. And I still, not even colossally lost. I played 3 games on the first day, and I did get quite ill. I was feeling a bit snuffly. And I think I came close to drawing 1 game. So yeah, but you guys stayed on till the second day, and I think even Nathan, with his pretty good army, wasn't doing that well.
But I think the thing is, his army is good against us because of the way we've built our armies.
We're all really bad.
I think his army was bad as well.
Just not as bad.
No, I think it was like his army against us is good because we haven't built our armies very well. Whereas his army against people who can deal with armor value 2, I think, he got the wooden spoon. I think he was pretty soundly trounced in every game.
Yeah. Well, it was lots of fun, and the Heresy Hammer people were lovely, and it was nice to see John ask him again.
Yeah.
And actually get some games in.
For a long time.
I know, right? So it was good. It was really fun. We then played another game. So we've been playing through the Battle of Chthoniya campaign, and we reached the end game. So we did like a mega game. What did we play? 6,000 points aside?
Yeah, 3,000 per player.
Yeah, so we played, me, Russ, Nathan, Gary, we set up a load of boards and tables at my studio at work, because it was a Saturday, which actually turns out to be a really good idea because it's a massive space that is available on a Saturday that I can use. So we set up like a 10-foot table, figured out the only set of terrain that we had enough mats to match, which means your old 40k Eldar terrain, Gary, which I always really like. So we played this Apex mission where basically me and Gary, as the permanently losing loyalists, were stuck in the middle, having to defend an Eldar village, an ancient Eldar village on the surface of Chthoniya, the green surface of Chthoniya, apparently, from the traitors, who then came in from all around the edges and from some like egg-shaped warp portals they could pop out of.
Yeah, some Eldar technology of sorts.
Yeah, and to be honest, it swung. Like at the start, we thought we couldn't win, and then we very quickly started massively losing, and the traitors got the upper hand massively. And then my knight, which was useless all game, managed to detonate itself and wipe out half an army, which sort of evened the odds a bit.
I think it wiped out about half of about 4 armies.
Yeah. So the thing about a Cerastus Knight Atropos we found out is when it blows up like, well, basically Nathan rolled the blow up roll and it rolled the maximum on everything. So it was
which was 12 inches, I believe.
Everything with every unit within 12 inches takes like 2d6 strength 10 AP2 hits or something like that.
Yeah.
and he or d6 strength 10 AP2 hits. And
a lot of beads on the abacus, which sides.
Yeah. So it went from like the traitors having a colossal upper hand to suddenly being kind of even again, and yeah. So we almost got
it the other way around. That it was didn't it kill most of Gary's Terminators or something because they were looking like we couldn't shift them.
That's true. Yeah, it might have.
after that explosion.
And then, after the explosion, Gary had like his Praetor left, and that was about it.
Yeah, it killed those 3 land speeders. It killed a lot of my Terminators, and basically it came down to trying to shoot speeders for the rest of the game. Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed the game.
The entire campaign was a
draw. The entire campaign was a draw, like all the best games in Warhammer. Everything was an extremely costly draw. I think we figured out afterwards that you probably would have won.
Or epilogue to it rather than leave it at a draw.
No, I think it's just a draw. Chthonia's has been drawn. No one won Chthоnia, but everyone is dead. Because the nature of the mission was that you guys had to get the objective in the middle and we were standing around it. It was basically a massive fight in the middle, and then the night exploded. So, a lot of things were taken out. The night wasn't very good, which I kind of knew. It was a bit of a waste of points. But it's pretty, so that's the important thing. That night will be featuring later. And then I went away for work, but you 3 all didn't. And while I was floating on a giant ship around the seas, you were at Salute buying stuff. What are your hauls? Bobbie, what did you come away with?
I came away with all sorts of bits. Salute was really good fun for a start. It's nice seeing a bunch of people, managed to bump into quite a lot of friendly faces. Had a few people who are fans of the channel come and say hello as well, which was it's good to see everyone. And it's busy. It seemed a lot busier than last year, which is good.
It was very busy this year.
Especially when we first got there, the entrance, like the first couple of aisles were swamped. I picked up a sort of weird assortment of bits. I got some basing bits and pieces for my Orc army, which I picked up from Bad Squiddo.
Yes. Friend of the channel, Bad Squiddo.
Yes, some Gamer Grass Tufts and Kraut Cover like pre-mixed basing goodness, which is good because I was thinking the 30mm bases my Orcs are going to be on needs something that looks nice on them because that's a big square.
Yeah.
But if I just do sand and dry brushing as traditional, I got quite a lot of bits for my 7TV stuff. Which is a game system by Crooked Dice, which is all like slightly IP adjacent figures for various sci-fi and action shows from like 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Yeah, I remember that. Like, it's been around for a while, 70.
Yes, they're on there. This is just the 2nd edition, actually. I think this might be a 3rd edition, actually. 2nd or 3rd edition of the rules. They're very good. The rules are very nice. The minis are also very nice. And I bought a stack of blisters and one of their episode packs because they do sort of like some link scenarios and like suggested forces to do like a themed. You can see in the picture it's a Manta Ray 5, which is somewhat similar to a Jerry Anderson show, featuring a submarine. Also got some 3D printed bits from Twisted Pinnacle, some by a designer called Big Mr. Tongue, who does, again, IP adjacent miniatures. And got some freebies from Ronnie at Kings of War, which is always, Mantic stuff is always good. Yeah, and I also got, as you can see in the video, in the background, a mat from Deep Cut, which I instantly regretted because I then had to get on the tube with a game mat, which is not. I ain't doing that again.
Yeah, that's a big wobbly, annoying thing to carry around.
Yes, especially on a big, busy tube train, people were not entertained by its wiggly antics.
Russ, Gary, did you do as well?
So again, I also went to Deep Cut. I bought a 6x4 grass mat. Because the battle report photos that we did at the game with Nathan and Russ, that they were your mats or Russell's mat, weren't they?
Russ and Nathan's, yeah.
Yeah, and I quickly grabbed that terrain box from the attic. That was my old terrain from years ago. And I didn't have a mat for it. And I had so much fun playing it that I was like, I should get a mat.
Yeah, because you used to play that on a Realm of Battle board, right? That you then got rid of.
Yes, I bought a new grass battle mat. And And while I was there, I noticed they had these little sort of area terrain things, which were £2 each, or you get 7 for a tenner.
Yeah.
And I bought a bunch of those to use with the John Hodgson backgrounds, and they work really well.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can sort of twist it and bend it so that it's not exactly a straight edge against the backdrop. You can have it either dipping down or bending up the edges.
Yeah, very clever.
So I bought some Turbo Dork paints. They were not great. Like I've only tried them with a brush. Maybe I need to try them with an airbrush. But they were disappointing. I think that the sparkly effect was oversold at Salute, and I think that's probably because of the big, powerful fluorescent tubes from every angle were making them really sparkle as you turn the models. They look, like Twilight. And when I got home and I was trying it, it's just like, oh, this is rubbish.
Oh no.
And my other disappointment at Salute was I went to the Mantic stall to get the Hellboy special miniature, and they sold out. They advertised for like a week in advance. Come see our stall, get the new Hellboy model, and they brought 15 from Nottingham.
15.
And the guy said they sold out within 30 minutes.
Yeah, well, you would.
Well, the first event that you can buy the event-only model, and to the first show you go to, you bring 15. I mean, there's something in the water at Nottingham, isn't there? Where they don't understand supply and demand.
We thought Games Workshop's production capability was lacking.
So yeah, that was a bit of an odd one. I'm pretty sure I'll still be able to get it if I go to Nottingham, pop by their HQ. I think they said they'll let you buy them from there.
Yeah, but that's
rubbish.
Yeah.
Oh well. What about you, Russ? What did you get?
Less than most years, actually.
Me too. But yeah,
I picked up a few bits and bobs. Anvil Industry were there as always. I haven't seen them for ages, so it's good to sort of chat to them for a little bit as well. But I picked up a few old Afterlife bits from the old scale, which actually enable me to get some squad sizes up to be like more usable in modern games, because I'd still love to play Afterlife, but frankly we never do. So I was like, oh, hang on, if I pick up that model and that model and that model, it will complete a few squads to be able to proxy them into Heresy or 40k. And apart from that, all I got was Planetary Governor from Crooked Dice. And I also got a map from Deep Cut because that seemed to be the thing we were doing. And then I got some free bits from Kings of War.
I'm annoyed I didn't go get a Salute dice. I really wish I had.
I didn't even realise that they were just on the stall in the middle, apparently.
Oh, they used to come in the bags when you entered.
Yeah, I think a lot of the bags weren't as full this year. I think some of the bags had that thing, some of the bags had the other thing, some of the bags had this thing. And I don't think they put the dice in any of the bags. I think you had to go and collect one.
Mine had the Salute miniature, and it also had a dice tray to roll dice in. Like a mouse mat dice tray.
We should probably say for the Americans that Salute is sort of a convention, but I guess the more accurate description is trade show. It doesn't have any like tournaments or anything like that. It's more like a big hobby event that happens in Excel in London, run by South London Warlords, and it's in its 50th year. It's really been going on forever. And it's essentially an excuse for all the wargaming industry, including all the really small sellers, who basically get together. They all get stalls. So it's like a colossal version of the sort of trade stall bit that you get in a convention without the rest of the convention. So you just go there to buy things. It's just a big old meetup and a massive convention. They've started doing like panels and things now. Some of the stalls will have like painting things, but they
always have a lot of demo games and stuff.
Yeah, and sometimes people put together like big exhibition games.
I don't know, maybe it was just my imagination, like my sense of things, but it felt a lot like there were people there playing games, but there weren't as many participation games as I think there have been in the past.
There weren't as many that you could just go up and start.
That was only my impression anyway. Yeah,
it seems like there were quite a few nice looking tables there, but it was kind of people were in the middle of a game and you could watch a bit rather than going and playing a turn of someone's game to see what it's like.
Yeah,
which is fine in itself. It just would have been nice if there had been some of the participation games there have been in the past.
Yeah. You often get that at Salute. You get that sort of big mega exhibition game that like a whole team have put together to play there, but then obviously they're playing it rather than you going in.
Yeah. Oh, that was good. That was one good demonstration thing. Actually, was the Titan Owners Club. That was very impressive.
Oh yeah, that always is. Yeah. We were playing with them at Warhammer Fest last year. They were doing the same thing, I assume, which is playing Adeptus Titanicus at full size.
Yes. Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah, really, really good. But yeah, great. Well, I'm glad you all got stuff. I was at work floating on a giant cruise ship in the Mediterranean, so I didn't buy any models at all. I guess it's now time to go through your updates that aren't Salute, though. So we all know we've got a deadline coming up. We'll start with you, Gary. What have you managed to do since we last met, apart from play all those games and buy things?
So I did a tiny bit of Shadespire with yourself.
Yes, thanks for that.
Yeah, we did the Meat Gang versus your Scabby Rats. It was a good game. Lots of funny jokes in the cards.
What are they called, the Meat Gang?
Sorry?
What are the Meat Gang called?
They're the ghouls of meat eating.
The ghouls of meat eating. The chompy meat ghouls.
I can't remember their name off the top of my head. They are their gimmick is that they want to chuck hunks of meat off everybody and they get enough meat counters to get better.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. They nom people. Yeah. They've also got quite a good bat guy who sort of flies over you and then you crap.
Yeah, so he takes chunks of meat out of you as he flies over. It's kind of like an extra attack that he gets to do. And a lot of the cards have little sort of puns on them. Like one of the cards is definitely a rip-off of some pasta advert where the person's going, "Oh, that's a good piece of pasta." And then it's holding up an entrail. Oh, good entrails. One of the cards is called Season the Meat.
Yeah.
Which is throwing salt in person's eyes and then they can't fight for a few turns.
Yeah, my head rat was seasoned for a few turns.
Seasoned, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're a fun gang, I don't think I'll play with them a lot. I think I still prefer some of the older gangs like the Snarlfangs more. Yeah. But maybe it's just because I don't want to play the same jokes for 5 games at a tournament. Because season every game going, "Oh, meat, got the meat," for an entire day. So,
well, thank you for that. You did at least help me hit my influencer quota of models to paint. So thanks for that.
Yeah, and then instead of doing Legiones Imperialis, I'm still doing Old World. I've been hammering away at the Fimar still.
Yeah.
I did the Dryarch, which is like their the male wizard caster. And I used the Metal Fimar, what's from the 80s, is it?
Yeah, really old model.
Yeah, it's the old one. So I did a slight upgrade to that, giving it some armor copied from the Forge World. And then there was a guy on Instagram, and I have no idea how to pronounce it, FGF. I'll send you the picture so you can put it on the screen. But he did that model with a levitating a rock years ago.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I copied it, did a piece of art based on that. Basically, I traced it, shaded it and stuff. I really loved it. And I finally got around to making it my own version of it. So picked up a couple of floaty rocks, made some floaty rock friends. So that's that one done. And I also finished painting the big spellcaster, the Merg.
Yeah.
So she's finished. So she now leads the army. So I've got 2 new leaders. Oh, so that Dryarch is going to be my points as swamp digger.
The guy who wears like a troll cloak, so the trolls think he's a troll.
Yeah. So,
and the rocks then are stone trolls.
And as long as he's near trolls, he gets +1 to his magic casting, the same as a weird boy would get normally from being near. Which is great for my army because all my Fimar are going to count as trolls. So when this guy's near Fimar, he'll be extra good at casting magic. So yeah. Bonus.
And then there are all the Fimar river trolls, and then these 2 stones are stone trolls.
Right, yeah. So the new army list has come out, which is really good for my Fimmer army. It's the River Hag is a HQ which allows you to move one more unit of trolls from special into core.
Yeah.
And for every 1,000, you can have one unit of trolls in core. So I can have, with the Hag, I can have 3 units of trolls in core and then another 3 in special. So I can have a whole army of Fimmer as trolls without needing to do anything else. But yeah, so it just made me rejiggle everything. I've now got a 2,000 point army, which is looking good. I love it. It's all Fimmer.
Yeah, great. Actually using some actual troll-based rules. Brilliant.
Yeah. So looking forward. Not played a game yet.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see when we actually get to play it. I'm going to try and get some skeletons painted.
That army's really ticked over. It's a shame that we're focusing on Legiones Imperialis, or I'd be miles ahead.
Only 3 weeks to go, Gary. Come on. So you did start making some, though.
I've been painting on sprue still. Like all the infantry are now base coated on the sprue. I just have to get round to doing a little bit more silver and wash them and put them on the bases, which is probably 1 day's work.
Yeah.
And then I can get moving on to the tanks. The tanks are all assembled. I just need to paint them.
Right.
I still haven't even actually counted what I've got. Like I've not read the rules properly. I don't know what I'm doing. I've got 2 lots of the core box of Space Marines.
Yeah.
I've got 2 Kratos tanks, and then I've got loads of Knights and Titans that I can add on. But
yeah.
No idea what it adds up, or if I've even got a legal army yet. I should probably check that at some point.
Cool.
We'll get there.
Brilliant. Russ, you've also been doing some epicing, but also some heresying as well. How have you been doing?
Well, first of all, actually, I was proud to be a part of the team that painted some Warcry models.
Yes. So your contribution to there was a week where it was like the Warcry box, the Night Kill Team box, the Gnome box and the Underworlds thing was all like within a week of each other. So we all pitched in to get some stuff done. I basically shared around the work and the models. But yes, thank you for being part of the team that painted the fantastic new Pyre Wardens. Pyregeists, from the Warcry Pyre and Flood set. Yeah, and then we played a bit of Warcry.
Yeah, we had a 3-player game with Nathan that was good fun. And then his Skaven were typically conniving and just let us kill each other so he could win. They did. The Skaven definitely won. It's quite fitting for Skaven, so I don't mind.
We played on the great big frog head, the old one head terrain piece, which is what Nathan painted. Which fired out laser beams from its eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I've been cracking on with my Blood Angels infantry.
Yeah.
So I've got my. I've still only done a total of 20 stands so far, I think it is. But that's half my infantry. The other half are sat here in progress. Just got to do the vehicles after that. And I might have to borrow a Reaver Titan off Nathan or something for the 11th.
Yeah, I've got like 2 Warhounds and a Reaver. So I'm only going to use the Reaver, I think. So there's more hounds going.
To make my 1,500 points, I'm going to need a Reaver. But we'll see. And then when was it? Monday or Tuesday, I was just randomly sitting around scooting through eBay, as you sometimes do. And I was like, Blood Angel army. 300 quid. A lot of Blood Angels for 300 quid. And no one's bidding on it. It's about an hour away. I'm going to keep an eye on that. And then it got to like 3 minutes to go. And I was like, no one's bid on that. I'm just going to throw like a cheeky bid in. So I got myself an entire new Blood Angels army with Sanguinius, 10 Dawnbreakers, 10 Angels Tears, 20 Assault Marines, 10 Heavy Weapon Marines, a couple of characters, and Incadius. Is it Incadius?
Yeah, the fancy Blood Angels Dreadnought.
Anyway. So I actually think that in the photos on eBay, I don't think they looked as good as they do in real life. So
cool.
I kind of feel like the guy might have probably quite frustrated because he had it 300 quid minimum, 500 quid buy it now. Nobody else bid, and I just think the photos on eBay didn't do it justice.
Yeah.
I think the one thing was I really don't like the bases, so I've started rebasing the army myself, trying to make bases that somewhat match my epic Blood Angels.
Yeah.
So I can then have a force of each. So yeah, I've just basically sat down with some plasticard, and I've done 3 so far. I'm going to make a total of 10 and just cast a load of base toppers.
Yeah.
And just redo the army on totally different bases. And suddenly I feel like, well, I've got an army of like about 700 quid's worth of stuff, which is all nicely painted, but not a huge amount of money.
It does raise the question though, Russ. So you've done your Black Shields army, which is all this infantry army, and now you've got this army which is all jump packs. So are you ever going to paint a tank for Horus Heresy?
I do have a canister assault ram.
Which would go with this army.
Which it's the wrong colour, but technically it's only got a very thin silver spray over it so far. I suppose technically I could buy some Crimson Paladins and put it with this army. But I have been intending to. I kind of want to make an army specially for it in a way.
Right.
It was originally bought for my Astral Claws many, many years ago, but I don't see myself using them as much as I would like. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, but I've got 2,500 points of Blood Angels now, suddenly. But what I've realised I need to do is it looks as if it's been built to be a Day of Revelation army.
Yeah.
Because there's almost nothing starting on the table, but I think it needs more on the table. So I'm going to add a Contemptor to go with the Incadius and a couple of sniper squads to try and help with the deep strike. Try and take out a couple of sergeants to drop some leadership, that sort of thing, and just try and blind some things with a big ass sit back Contemptor dread, so that on the turn I come in, I can absolutely first of all avoid being stomped by augury scanners, and then secondly in everything, and hopefully do a lot of charging without having to deal with reactions.
Yeah,
but it might be fun. I've got a feeling from what I've listened to on podcasts and stuff, Day of Revelation, I think, it's not a terrible Rite of War, but it's probably not a tournament-winning Rite of War, but it possibly could be having a lot of fun with your army Rite of War, which is probably more important for the type of things we go to anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Ben, you did suggest that yourself and I could do a doubles army and do Fafnir and...
I've got Zephon as well, because Zephon and Fafnir are best buddies, end of the death, a little...
between the 3 of us, we could do the Siege of Terror.
Yeah.
If Gary wants to break out his old Death Guard, we could recreate the Siege of Terror there.
There was also at least one Space Wolf there, so Gary could join in with at least one model. One
Space Wolf. Brilliant. So that's all going very, very well. Bobbie, what have you been painting up?
First of all, I managed to remember to take photos of my terrain when I was in the same place as my terrain that I did last month, or mentioned last month. But there's now photographic proof. Finally managed to get enough stuff here that I can build miniatures and start painting. I haven't got my full painting set up. So I've managed to do 6 Land Raider Proteuses, 4 Land Raider Spartans, and some Dreadnoughts. More Dreadnoughts.
More fists.
Yes, more for my Imperial fists. I've got the rapiers and the missile turrets, like missile tarantula AA missiles, sat waiting to be finished, and I've got the rapier operators already half painted. So those should all be ready for when we're playing games. So
3 weeks.
I'm pretty much up to date with Legiones Imperialis. I don't think there's much that they've released for the Space Marines that I haven't managed to pick up yet. I haven't got any drop pods. That's the big thing that I haven't got. But
that's so expensive, though, right?
It's so expensive and don't really fit for my army.
You've got plenty of transports.
You only get 4 in a box. Like, is that useful?
For 30 quid.
Not a lot.
It's not a very useful number because I think they only transport 2. Yeah. So even if you're doing a very small detachment, you're going to need a lot of drop pods.
That's only that's 8 bases.
One.
It's a very strange decision to make them so multi-part and so rather than just concentrate on getting 10 in the box like everybody.
I get that they wanted to put interior parts on them, but they could possibly.
Why? What? Who's going to do that?
So you can open them up. You can land them and open them up and make them look pretty.
But
they're as articulated as the full size ones. It's absolutely absurd.
It is absurd.
it's this, the thing that happened in this. I just don't understand what the gimmick is, because rhinos come in like 17 parts. I'm sure that number goes up in my head every time I think about it. It's like but the exhausts are separate. Like, why are the exhausts a separate piece? You know, why have you got a couple choice on a rhino? It's
Yeah.
There is an element, though, that they can't win, because if you look at the tactical Marines where there's slight undercuts and stuff, people absolutely
lost their
threw the
mind,
toys
yeah.
out the pram. It's not, look at this, like, why have they done this? Why have they done this? Rah, 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 rah.
I'm fine. The scale is so small, I don't care. You know?
Oh, no, I agree with you. I actually think there's a comfortable middle ground where, like, the rhinos don't need as much detail as they've got. Like, I think the infantry is fine. The few that, like, the missile launchers are 2-part, I can just about live with that. You know, I think if they were all 2-part, I think it'd be a frustration. But the rhinos, if they'd have done the rhinos in about 3 or 4, maybe a maximum of 5 parts, that would be okay. Okay, but some of the vehicles seem like they've got like as many parts as the full size version, and it's like, well, I've got to build 8 of these. Bloody hell!
Yeah, I feel
technology. I mean, they're doing so many things. They must have them on really big scales on their computer screens, and then they get very clever in how they do it. I got the Gnomes Blood Bowl team arrived today, and I was looking through the instructions of that, and it's wonderful. The faces are separate, so you can have every model's got a separate. You can swap out and out so many pieces. But for a Legion Imperialis, I don't think it was necessary. Like, I
mean, it's like that with the rules though as well. Like I actively don't want at this scale of game for it to matter what the sponsons on a Liman Russ do. Like, it's just you don't want to care about that at this scale.
Yeah, so what's the choices between heavy bolters and las cannons?
There's heavy bolters, las cannons, auto cannons, or flamers, I think. And then you can put different weapons in. There's 3 different guns you can put on the sponsons. 2 on the front. It's just like, the whole point here is that we're playing at such a big scale that's called tank. And that's it.
Tank.
I feel like they just should decide, like, the most common sponson weapons, and they've all got them.
That's what
maybe for now you sell one version of Leman Russes, and then maybe like 6 months down the line you start to sell Vanquisher Leman Russes as well, and you've got like a maximum of like 2 or 3 variants or something like that.
I still think what they've done is crazy with the idea that you can get a Land Raider box and a Rhino box and then a Dreadnought box and they're all 30 quid each. I'd rather have one box and it's 2 Rhinos, 1 Land Raider, 1 Drop Pod, 1 Dreadnought, like that. And I go and I get a box of that, like, and each sprue.
How it was in the 80s.
Yeah. So they give you 5 copies of that sprue in the box, charge you 40 quid, 50 quid, whatever it is. And I've got in that box, and I've got 10 Rhinos, 5 Land Raiders, 5 Drop Pods, 5 Dreadnoughts, 2 bike squads, whatever. You know.
It's not the business model these days. The thing is, they've done it with the infantry, where you have to buy everything. Like, I can't go out and buy the sprue.
That's how it should be. And if you don't want missile launchers, you trade them with someone. You know.
Those.
So
I think you can't. There's a level of you can't win. But I certainly, my first ever purchase was, I think, a £5 box of squat epic models. Which was, I think it was like 5 versions of the same sprue. And the sprue had like the bikers, some exo squats, some normal squats, some heavy weapon guys, some mole mortars, some thud guns, all on the sprue. And you just got 5 versions of that and a box of bases. Yeah. Anyway, we're still at the point of discussing Bobbie's updates because you've also, Bobbie, sorry.
I was letting you all just get it out. You all had a lot of strong opinions, so I was just wasn't going to interrupt.
Yeah.
Some of the kits are a little. The Leviathan Dreadnoughts are 14 pieces and a base, which is they don't need 3 pieces for each leg. It's a little bit much, especially the Derrideo Dreadnoughts only have single piece legs and they're almost exactly the same design.
Can you make them run and stuff? Like, is it got a couple of?
No, they're quite static posed. There's just lots of pieces to try and get the detail on the front and the sides. And I've built them now. That I'm not going to build. I think I've got enough for the moment.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've been also doing other projects. I got the new Heresy Resin Apothecary kit, which is very nice. They're really nicely cast and designed pieces. One of them I decided would look good as a World Eater's Apothecary, so I do need to get on with my... I've got a whole World Eater's Zone Mortalis army in various stages of being completed. I need to 3D print a lot of bits for it before it can be painted. That's the problem. Lots of like individual weapons and stuff.
Extra parts.
And also on the spending front, I've just been buying lots of orcs. I have a lot of orcs now, and none of them are built.
Old World.
Yeah, for Old World, I've bought a large amount of orcs, and they're all still on sprue. So I need to wait for me to have a bit of a day off, or a day where I've got some time to sit down and...
You got in on the last orders of Savage Orcs, didn't you? Because they're not gone, I think.
Yes. I managed to pick up 2 boxes of Savage Orcs, which is enough to build like a real big regiment. So I've got some of those. I've got basic Orc Boys. I've just today ordered Black Orcs because they came up on pre-order. And the other regular... The old... I think they were the starter set Orcs for 6th edition.
Mm-hmm.
The orcs with the 2-hand weapons and the orcs with the bows.
Yeah.
So I've got a set of those coming, and I've got a bunch of character bits and pieces as well. So I'm well set for an orc army when I rebother to glue all together and paint them.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what colour to start painting them. We were discussing this in our chat. Whether I go for brown spray and try and get ahead on the armor, whether I spray them green and try and get ahead on the skin. There's a lot of painting to do.
Yeah.
So
I think you
suggestions in the comments, please.
Yeah.
How do you paint orcs and it not be a huge pain in the ass?
Yeah. I think that's the way to go. I think it's you paint the thing that's in the deepest crevices. So I think you paint whatever their clothes are going to be, because their arms and legs and faces are pretty accessible.
Yeah, I think brown might be the colour I go for at least the ones in leather armour, and then the black orcs might have to be
Green.
Black or silver spray to start painting all that armour.
Cool. Brilliant. Well, there we go. So I've also got some progress. I have actually taken some photos of all the epics. So this month I finished my 3 Titans, a Reaver and 2 Warlords, Warhounds. The Reavers got fixed arms, I just glued them on. The Warhounds have a bit of a selection. So they are Legio Stompius, and stomping around the battlefield. So that's done. And then arranged with everything else, that gives me a load of stuff. That gives me a load of Solar Auxilia, the tanks from last month, the Aeronautica from before, and the 3 Titans. Gives me plenty of options. I'm not going to paint or buy any more until I've done them, until I've actually played some games. The only thing I need to try and do is assemble some bases for the planes, because they're still on their Aeronautica ones. It's another one of those things that's like permanently out of stock. So I think
you'd probably be all right with those bases. They're not a lot bigger.
They're not. They just don't look as fun. I might, if I get bored, I might. There's someone's made. I think I've still got some of the new flight stems spare, and I can probably 3D print myself some bases if I can't just buy a set.
It's just a 40mm base with the
right receptacle in it.
Really.
Yeah, with like a little vent that you stick the flight stand into.
Exactly, and I think I've got because every time I got one of those Aeronautica bases, it would have come with a little sprue with 2 different stands on it. That means I've probably still got somewhere all the other stands. Yes, that should work. So that's the epic army done. At the same time as doing those Titans, I also did the Cerastus Knight. So the Cerastus Knight is painted the same way. The Cerastus Knight was deliberately painted to go with the white scars, which is why it's the colour it is. The Cerastus Knight is from the Mechanicum aligned House Stompiax, because it's Mechanicum, right? The House Stompiax. This is Stompiax Magna of House Stompiax. So that was fun. That's a pretty weighty like lump of resin. That kit took a while to get painted, but that's fun. Glad I did that. And then on painting all the skirmish games week, I decided I would paint a gnome. Now, as everyone knows, I am not a massive fan of the game Blood Bowl. I'm a fan of like the theory of the game Blood Bowl, but the actual game I'm not a huge fan of. But gnomes might sway me to playing some, especially if I can paint them all as Smurfs. So I assembled Rodney Roachbait, and as you can see, I have painted him as a Smurf. If I can paint them all as Smurfs, I might play a bit of Blood Bowl. I think that model's really good, and it kind of breaks me. I've got this idea that Blood Bowl should only be one ball on the pitch. Might be one of the few models where I can't stand it when I see catchers holding a ball and throwers holding a ball and runners.
I absolutely agree with you. It drives me crazy.
And then so you end up with 9 balls on the pitch when you've got 2 teams.
I'm of the opinion that because of that, if I do get into Gnome Ball, I'm going to make sure every single person is holding a ball.
Geese, you can have.
As many balls as possible. Geese, badgers, every single person is going to be holding a ball somewhere.
The new illusionist has got 2 hands, which this is great. If they do this for all of the range coming up, whereby catchers have an empty hand and you can choose to put the ball in or not, that'd be great. Because the new illusionists come with 2 empty hands, and you can put the flaming ball in one hand and the normal in the other and swap them around so you get 2 different models.
Oh, wow.
But the way I'm looking at it is brilliant. Put a catcher with his catching mitt up there, and then I get to choose if I glue a ball in, and I don't.
Yeah, and I'll just glue them all to my bases as illusions.
But no, that seems amazing. It's got the fox and stuff.
Yeah.
The fisherman model, though, I don't know if he's still on screen. He looks so fragile. It's one of these things that I just look at it and I go, "That's not going to last."
He is a bit breaky.
Like, if anything, his fishing rod should have been cast in metal, so you get a resin metal combo or something.
It's not the rod. The rod's pretty secure because his hat goes into it, and it's all right. The point is, right at the very tip of the rod, where the wood ends, there's a little metal ring, and that's the connection point for the line.
Yeah.
So the line and the ball is one piece, and it just connects where that little end of the wood and the little metal ring is. That's the point where that whole piece connects. And
not getting a pin in there, are you?
Yeah, no way. The fact that the wood overhangs a little bit is sort of gives you a bit of a better thing. But that's difficult.
We're talking about a game where you pick up and place the model prone and
you repeatedly knock them over. Yeah. Brilliant. Well, there's the updates. All that's left is to do your updates. So the way this works is that there is a level of the patron where people get Discord access, and then every month we go, well, what have you built? And then hopefully it's a handy prod to keep people building armies and then coming and playing. So we've got a few legions and then a few old world updates to go through. Macariel has been doing the only right thing, the same thing that I've been doing, and building vehicles for the Solar Auxilia. We've got some Titans there, a load of planes, and a bunch of tanks. So I quite like these. That's the Malcador and Valdor box?
Yes.
The super-powered...
The Infernus and the... Is it Valdor Tank?
The Valdor Tank Hunter, yeah. So that's the new box, which I'm tempted by. But as I said, I'm not going to buy anything until I have played a game.
You'd have to buy the other book as well if you want to play with those.
God, really? Yeah, God. I'm not doing it until I play the game.
We'll take a picture of it.
And some Marauder bombers there and some Avengers and Lightnings and things. Yeah, all very good.
The Marauder bomber is massive, isn't it?
They're huge. They're such big models. The Destroyer's bigger. The Destroyer variant is a bigger model. Those are bombers. The Destroyer has like an elongated, wider tail.
Isn't there like an even bigger one that's got like a world-destroying bomb on it or something?
Don't remember. There might have been in Epic. There might have been just one great big bomb one, but there isn't at the minute. Build the kit those ways. But yeah, that's looking good. So Macariel is ready for he'll be at the event in a few weeks' time. So he's there. Princeps Tom has been painting some more, so slowly plugging away at things. Been a bit distracted with some second edition orcs, but has managed to finish some Kratos, some Spartans, tactical marines, and a few more buildings. So yeah, loads to go, all for the bright green salamanders there, looking very nice.
Striking scorpion green, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lovely colour. And those buildings are lovely.
Really
and then a
seeing this army all together. Their photos are so nice, and I'm sure in person they'll be even nicer. Yeah,
because Tom's also, I think Tom's coming. I think that's right. Yeah, is coming to Babin Cafe, so we'll get to see these in person, which is nice. Wilco Paints has then been doing some old world. Been finished my first squad of Bretonnian bowmen, so now I can now I need to start planning out more heraldry in case my Duke of Carcassonne for the Duke of Carcassonne, because it's red and blue classic like board games. So yeah, archers with the classic pokey sticks at the front. What Bretonnian archers get.
It's got the little fire pots as well, so they can set their arrows on fire.
Oh, yeah.
Really good.
Very good. The banner looks brilliant there. That's looking really, really nice. So it's like that's the thing with Bretonnians, isn't it? It can be a really slow army to paint. I suppose it's better for this way. It would be worse if you were picking a new heraldry for every knight. Yeah, that's why I went with Skellingtons, because they're the opposite.
All one colour.
Yeah, all one colour, easy. Cordal has been doing some Whole World 2. Finished the first 500 points of Empire and had my first 2 intro games to the Old World at Warhammer World, which is lovely. So yeah, Empire models here. What are the models in this? Are they...
Freefields, aren't they?
Sorry?
Yeah.
Look like Freefields.
Yeah, 3 yields and a lot of conversion work. Knowing Cordal, there's a lot of
Cordal, there's going to be a lot of conversion work.
Yeah. Is that City of Sigmar stuff in there?
Yeah.
Looking really, really good, though. I also like the little flowers on the bases. That looks quite nice. Flowers, literally.
Daffodils.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, they're looking brilliant. Will Old School has started, well, basically has been working through dwarfs. So I can see here a load of lovely dwarf characters, a dwarf gyrocopter, and more importantly, the John Hodgson background book.
Yeah.
Hey! They're looking brilliant. Some great centerpiece models there. I assume they're like High Kings and things like that.
And the Runesmith, they're like that.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever it's called.
Is that the new Anvil of Doom, or is that like a different?
I think these are 3D printed.
Oh, I think that someone was doing that before. Yeah, I think a couple of people were doing this out of doing Old World with third-party model.
Yeah, I think Highlanders.
That's the ones. Yeah,
tag.
Brilliant. They're looking really good, coming along well. Very good use of the valley background for your dwarves there. Then Will Iredale has also been pushing forward. It was 44 Orcs and Goblins last time around. It's now 123 finished. Gone all in on the Old World, even if not played a game yet. And there's still 210 to paint from the old Hammer days. And they also bought some new ones from Kickstarter and Patreon. They've signed up for an event at Black Dragon next month, which should give some sort of deadline. And there they all are ranked up, old goblins and orcs all ranked up in shiny new movement trays there.
They're looking very impressive. I think this is... this is the problem with big horde armies of cheap troops for the Old World is before you can play, you got to paint a whole lot of models.
Everybody moans about like fanatics, but I think fanatics are the reward for painting all of that. Like you have to do that before you get to use fanatics.
Yeah, no, well worth the effort. They look really, really good. Brilliant. Good luck at the event. Mazu, work's been starting to slow down, so they've actually had time to, do stuff. Old World is Beastmen, most of which is pitted there. And there's a Mordheim. This was originally a Mordheim project that then got out of hand. There's a few things missing from this, but this is a huge collection of models. And there's a few things going, but they'll put more in the next photos next month. No Legiones Imperialis yet, but that's okay. You don't have to be doing both of them. We just are because we're fools. So that's a colossal Beastman army. I don't know how much of that is immediately recent, but there's plenty there for a game with. That's easily a whole old world's worth of beastie men's, right?
Yeah, it's got to be at least 1,000 points, 1,500 or something.
Yeah,
I reckon that's more actually, based on my own army. I feel like if that looks like Vestigors, which are like 12 points each before you buy them anything.
Yeah, you can give them upgrades and things.
The squad on the right might be. I can't even tell if that's Vestigors as well. I think that's it's a decent sized army. There's 3 Dragon Ogres at the back.
Oh yeah,
it's if the characters are expensive characters, I think you're looking at a good 2,000 points there.
And of course, the nice thing about playing Beastmen in Old World at the minute is that it's probably quite cheap to expand your army right now.
I've not checked.
Either that or everything's just gone out of production and everything's trebled in price.
I think they're probably one of the armies as well. You buy a few shamans because it's very thematic, and you can put a lot of points into that.
Yeah,
as you want to boost everything.
Yeah, it's one of those armies, isn't it? It's got expensive things in it if you want them. Yeah. I like that. Brilliant.
Tigors, for example.
Will has then been so busy with performance prep that they didn't do much, but they finished the first unit of Glade Guard, a Treeman, and 12 Dryads, and started the next Treeman. So next month, hoping to cross the 1,000 point mark with the Wood Elves, with some characters. Yeah, another way to spend a load of points, isn't it? Start doing all the characters. But yep, they're coming along nicely.
Yeah.
And then finally, Arsa is back with another insane painted banner. Dark Elf Crossbowmen, who also got a few extra bodies added to them. They say that they've got a slight miscalculation with the size of the banner and length of the flagpole. But I think that's fine. That's absolutely fine, even if the people underneath it can't see.
Yeah, that's... Crossbowmen don't need to see.
Yeah, exactly, right?
That's a Rambo banner, right?
That is, sorry?
Yes.
That's both First Blood and that is the pose, right?
Yeah, that's Elf Rambo.
Can second row shoot anyway? Isn't it like you have to single line with bows and stuff?
I'm not sure about crossbows. I think crossbows have volley like everything else. But
yeah, they all have volley fire, I think. So half your back.
I also want to point out that those are the correct Dark Elf Crossbowmen, as in that's the original ones from Warhammer Regiments.
Oh, wow.
And also the Dragon Rider at the back there.
Yeah, we saw that last month.
I've got that model as well.
Yeah.
I actually have mine on a cold one.
Yeah, it's really
model. There's something about that particular sorceress grasping her scroll. I've always absolutely loved that model.
Brilliant.
Honestly.
Brilliant. Looks amazing. So there we are. That's our community updates for this month. Thanks, everybody. So yeah, loads we've done. By this time next month, when we record next month, we will have done our event. We would have been Legions. We would have actually built the armies and played the game, so we can report back on what we actually thought, because none of us have played a game yet. And then onwards.
I hate it.
Yeah, me too.
I know. How annoying would that be if we all hate the game? We should probably get some practice in, but yeah, we'll feed back, I guess, on what actually happens at the event. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining in. If you want to join in, then of course there's more Patreon stuff which will get you to submit photos, build armies and stuff. And in a few months' time, probably over summer, we'll be announcing and then starting the next big Tale of Four Gamers, which hopefully will be more organised than this one. But yeah, so thanks everybody. Thanks to the gang for joining once again. And we'll all see you in about a month's time. Have fun.
All right. Bye.
Bye.